Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Max Flinders. Make sure you go to MotoAmerica YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, like. If you see me, definitely put a thumbs up.
It's time for the Geico Motorcycle Superbike Speed Fest at Monterey. Round 5 of the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. From Monterey, California, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Setting the stage for Supersport race number 1, Sean Dillon Kelly has been the standout this season, trying to capture that number 1 plate from Richie Escalante, who is in defense of his title. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time world champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, talking about Richie Escalante, it's been a struggle. I mean, he's had some bad luck this season.
A little bit of bad luck, but I think a lot of that's the pressure that Sean Dillon Kelly's put on him this year. Sean Dillon Kelly's coming with a new attitude. He's working really well with his team. He's already got 5 wins, and he's looking good here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and for Richie Escalante, Jason, a couple of injuries are plaguing him. We're going to talk more about that later, but as we look inside the numbers, Sean Dillon Kelly with those 5 wins, 7 podiums, and you can see the points difference. Let's get Richie Escalante with 2, and then Stefano Mesa with a win this season and 4 podiums. But for Mesa, he wasn't able to get to the ridge for the last round. He was 3rd in points, Jason, and now he's here this weekend, but, you know, from what we understand, it's not all great right now.
Yeah, he had a problem this morning in qualifying. Stefano came all the way out here from Florida. He had some prior commitments that he took care of at the ridge, so we didn't see him there. He's had a little bit of bad luck here. He had an incident yesterday in qualifying, and then this morning it looked like he had a mechanical problem.
Now, Mesa did qualify for this race, but we hear with that problem, we're not really sure what's going on. So let's get down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa. Hannah, do you know what's going on with Mesa right now?
Greg, it's safe to say that Stefano Mesa is experiencing the highs and lows of everything the sport has to offer this season. You know, off to such a strong start. You mentioned he had a victory and 4 podiums this season. Yesterday, a bit of a tip over during a qualifying session, and they got the bike back together, ready to go for this morning. He went out, he was feeling really good, but unfortunately, they blew up an engine, and there just wasn't enough time to procure a new engine and get it back into the motorcycle in time for this race, especially not knowing what he was going to have underneath him. There was no time to practice on this new engine, so they're going to try and get everything ready for tomorrow's race, and hopefully he'll be on the grid tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just a problem. When you have such a small team like Mesa, his family, to try to get a new engine put in there in 2 hours, it's a tall task. Now, Jason, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, a legendary track without question.
Yeah, obviously everybody knows Laguna Seca around the world. Up over turn 1, down into turn 2 there, Greg's extremely downhill. Then your track kind of flattens out through 3 and 4, and you start making your way up to that corkscrew. As soon as you start hitting that elevation change in turn 5, after turn 6, big steep hill, through the famous corkscrew, down through Rainy Corner, and we've seen a lot of races decided down in turn 11 as they run back to the checkered flag.
So WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, famous around the world. Supersport race action around the corner. What can this guy do? He's 3rd in points with a podium. Can he get another one? We're here to find out.
So many things to talk about here as Greg goes to break, and he and Jason Pridmore. I'm Robbie Floyd along with Roger Hayden. Roger, some thoughts getting ready for Supersport. I see Ben Smith on the 88, and you see he was kind of looking forward to this race. I mean, one of the familiar tracks for him. You can still he had that bad taste for throwing it away when he was had a podium spot, a couple years ago, but he wants to do that today.
Yeah, he's been fast all weekend, and then also as well, last year when we raced here, he was really quick and was maybe going to get on the podium until he crashed. So I think this weekend, a track that he likes, maybe kind of get the last couple of races been a little tough for him. So hopefully this weekend he can get back on the podium. And just bummed for Stefano Mesa. He puts a lot of effort in his program to come here and not get to race.
Since Kevin Olmedo there, you saw the rub on his leathers in the Altus Suzuki. Back-to-back, 3rd place finishes for him. In talking with his mechanic, he said he's beginning like 30% better each week. I mean, you've come back from injury. You're not just injury. You're not just going to jump right into the field. He's kind of been their speed, but lasting is another story.
Yeah, just getting that strength back in your shoulder. I mean, you can do all the stuff you want in the gym to try to get ready for a race, but the only way to really work the muscles you use on the motorcycle is getting seat time. So he missed a couple races, and now he's getting that strength back, and he's looking good this week.
Carl, is that a sweet stash he's sporting right there? And giving us the dab, the Usain Bolt. Of course, on top of the grid will be Sean Dillon Kelly, the 40, and Richie Escalante. They're only separated by less than 0.2 of a second. As we look at Liam Grant through the field, he's going to have a hard charge, or looks to have a hard charge up through the field. There's Richie Escalante, and coming from an injury as well. Let the fans here know, and again, the guys might talk about that when it goes to the TV side. And I asked him, I said, does everybody know about this fracture? He goes, oh, yeah, everybody knows, but it was a training incident that he had on Tuesday riding the bike, and you know what it's like. And evidently it's the top of his foot, and, you know, you put pressure on that foot, on that, you know, that pad of the foot, you're going to feel it if you have a broken foot.
Especially at this track, because there's a lot of changing the directions. You know, a lot of the corners are back to back, so it's definitely gonna feel that. But we've seen him race with a broken collarbone this year and do really well. And you know, once the light goes out and adrenaline kicks in, it's a powerful you know, pain drug.
Looking at Rocco there, and I asked him right before he went out on that last lap. He was looking for a little bit more grip on exit, trying to get a little more drive grip, as he called it. Him and his dad, I saw him talking to the suspension techs. They're trying to get that bike ready, but he started in a good spot, middle of that second row. Give him a good, you know, a good jump off the line, something we haven't seen too many times this year. Give him a good jump, and he might be up there at the start.
And you said it exactly. He has got to get a good start. That's kind of been his problem. The last couple races, he's got the pace, but he, you know, gets a bad start or gets caught up in something on the turn one, and then, you know, he comes around 8th or 9th. He cannot let those guys get away, get a good start, and have a solid race.
Samuel Lockoff going to start in the 8th spot, another kid that has moved up from the juniors into the Supersport class. He'll be one to look for, especially if Stefano Mesa not able to make the starting grid. That's going to be one spot that he may be able to shoot through. So, again, plenty of names to look at. Sean Dillon Kelly on pole, Richie Escalante and Ben Smith trying to knock him off of it.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Love those shots from there. I am Jason.
Look at you.
Yeah,
huh?
Riding Greg's ride to the races. I've ridden to the MotoAmerica races, and this was on my ride from Seattle down here to Monterey, California. Thanks to the crew for using those shots on billboards, but it's been a great time. But back to Supersport race action as we're getting closer and closer to the start of race number 1 here in MotoAmerica Supersport. Let's get right down to Jamie Howe. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you.
Hey, Greg. Great to be here. You know, the last time MotoAmerica raced here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca was at the end of October. It was the end of the 2020 season, and it was a very different scenario for our now point leader, Sean Dillon Kelly. He did win both of those races last year, but the championship was already decided, so all they really did was give him that momentum and that boost, and that has carried over into this year. You mentioned he's already won 5 out of the 8 races this season, including the last 2 at the Ridge just a couple of weeks ago. He's our pole sitter today, so the momentum is definitely on his side. But because the last time we raced here was in October versus these wonderful temperatures that we're enjoying here in early July, it was 69-degree track temperature last time. It is now a 96-degree track temperature, and I've been told by Dunlop that many of the riders will actually choose the same tire. It's not that temperature sensitive. The issue that they're going to face is the hotter the track is now, the more grip they're going to get, but the faster they're going to wear through those Dunlops. So let's wait and see what the end of this race is going to hold.
I mean, Jason, when you get that much grip out of it, it's an elixir, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just want more and more and more,
Yep.
and so then you get really ham-handed.
You just keep pushing harder and harder, Greg. And like you said, like Jamie was talking about, the track temperature, the outside air temperature is great, but the sun's just beating down on this track. It's going to get warmer as the day goes. And this morning qualifying was so fun to watch because Escalante had pole. Both these guys were doing right around at that time. They were in the 27.1s. Then all of a sudden Escalante just pops out and goes 26 something, and STK goes 2,000s quicker on the exact same lap. They were just trading blows back and forth.
All right, let's take a look at the starting grid on how they qualified for this race, because we talked about Sean Dillon Kelly sitting on pole at a 126.444, Escalante and Benjamin Smith on the front row.
Ben Smith in great form. Then we have a local, Corey Ventura, races in the AFM. He's been doing tremendous work. Love to see him be part more of the national championship that we have here instead of just the one race. We got Landers next to him. Then we have Kevin Almeida just outside row 2. Unfortunately, as we both know, as we all know, Stefano Reysa is not with us. Lockoff Lampkin, good qualifying results. Then we have Doyle, Thermiotis, and Saltese there through row 4. A little bit further back, De Silva, Nassani, Liam Grant there on row 5. Daniel Reiser, another local guy, Nate Minster and CJ LaRoche there in row 6. A little further back, Austin Miller, Harms Jansen, and Petrati. And then we have Vucic, Zaragoza, and Walker back on row number 8. And on number 9 there, back there, Gluss and Blackall.
All right, so 26 riders qualified, 25 ready to start this race. No Stefano Mesa, 4th in points, but looking at this guy, number 40, Sean Dillon Kelly, M4X Star Suzuki. Jamie said it, all the momentum going his way. Upper left-hand part of the screen, those lights, when they go off, we're going racing. Here we go. A good launch from Sean Dillon Kelly. And how about Ben Smith in 3rd place? Here we go. Up over the rise of turn 1, down into turn 2. Hard braking double apex left-hander. As we sort things out, it looks like Smith has position and going to take over 2nd spot. So there goes the 88.
And this is what we've seen in the last 2 rounds. When somebody gets between Escalante and Sean Dillon Kelly early, that person in front usually gets that little checkout move. Now, Benjamin Smith's been riding tremendous this weekend, as we saw with his 3rd on the grid, but Escalante's going to want to get by him immediately, so look for a move as they go down up here underneath this bridge, down into turn 5.
So Richie Escalante under braking is going to make the move. Jason Escalante not healthy right now.
Not healthy. He had an accident earlier this week doing a test at a track in Southern California on his 4th lap out. Ends up flicking himself, Greg. Breaking a small bone in his foot as SDK gets out on the curbing. That's going to give Escalante a run up the hill. Sean Dillon Kelly out a little bit wide there as they came out of turn 6. Back on Escalante, though, he does have a broken bone in his foot and a really badly sprained left wrist.
And he says this right here, coming down off the corkscrew all the way until turn number 2 is where he's really having a problem. There's a lot of pain. There's a tremendous amount of activity on the motorcycle in terms of body position, forces, shifting, all that stuff affecting his left foot and left wrist, Jason.
A lot of directional changes there, Greg, and a lot of elevation as well. And then when you come out of here, now you've got to get back into the seat for this run up the front straightaway. You can see number 28, Corey Ventura, has closed up on our 3 leaders. And just behind them, it looks like Almeida and Rocco Landers are also just off the back. You can see them trying to catch up to these leading 4 as they roll down into turn 2.
Almeida on the 16. That's Altus Motorsports.
Nolan Lampkin.
After a good qualifier, Nolan Lampkin, the 52, on the Cycle Gear Racing Yamaha R6, down. Still leading the way, M4X Star Suzuki, Sean Dillon Kelly. Number 1 is Honos HVMC Racing's Richie Escalante. Boy, Jason, talking to Richie this morning, he was just like, look, I'm trying to defend this title, but things just aren't going my way. He had a broken collarbone just about 9 weeks ago at this point, and he said, my collarbone's 100%, and then I do this to the left side of my body.
Yep, and it happens. I mean, you know, these guys went out testing. They went to try to see if they could make some improvements to get this bike better. Graves and the whole team, the Honos team, rode down to Buttonwillow, and at the end of the day, he has an incident on his 4th lap out there. What do you have for us, Hannah?
Jay, I talked to Richie about his injury, and he said, you know, Tuesday of this week, he was really worried about how his foot was going to feel, but he's actually really happy with how well he's been riding, and he really doesn't want to make any excuses for himself. He's just trying to push through the pain. He's got a good rhythm. The bike feels really good. Again, it's just mitigating that pain. It's the most noticeable through the left turns, but he recognizes that this race marks the halfway point of this season, so he wants to finish it strong and then head in tomorrow with a clear mind and start the second half of the season even stronger.
Yeah, Jay, when Hannah's talking about having a hard time through left-hand corners, this is not the track you want to come to.
It's definitely a little bit harder, and when you have a foot that's broken, and you know you're going to be using your feet and your ankles a lot when you're rolling around this place. So, but adrenaline's a funny thing, and he's kept it pretty much under the wraps. When I saw him, I was actually at that test. When I saw him here, I said, hey, I didn't say anything to anybody. He's like, hey, everybody knows already. And I said, I understand, but I also think you can't take anything away from the number 40 ahead of him. SDK's been pushing the pace all year long, winning races, leading, doing the hard work, just like he's doing now. And he's made Escalante have to step up his game. So the fact that these guys went testing and he had a little bit of a slide off, that's just part of the sport, and it does happen.
So for Sean Dillon Kelly, what a season he has put together. In 8 races so far this season, 7 podiums with 5 of those being wins. And this is where Sean Dillon Kelly, Jason, to me, has really shined this season. It's when someone is right on his tail section, he just hasn't flinched that much. We've seen him make one minor mistake in turn 6 so far this race. But for the most part, when he's under pressure, he's been cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, I mean, for the year, when you look at what he has done, he's just self-admittedly almost come in here with a little bit different attitude. He's working very well with Jeremy Toy and that whole M4 team. This is a championship that obviously they want to go out and wrangle away from that Honos Kawasaki team. And SDK has literally not really put a foot wrong. Yeah, you're going to see little mistakes here and there, but these guys are pushing at their maximum. And you can see Escalante now is going to take a shot or attempt to as they go down into turn 2, and he's going to get the door firmly shut on him on the tip in into 2. Now, these guys, Greg, are in the mid-27s right now. Benjamin Smith and Corey Ventura are the only other 2 riders that are capable of running in that minute 27 bracket. You can see the 4 of them now have pulled clearly away from Almeida and Landers.
Sean Dillon Kelly having a good run at it, Jamie.
You talk about the way he manages that pressure coming into this race. That was at the top of his mind. He said his whole goal was to not let Richie Escalante, 1, get around him, 2, pull away from him. And he knows that that's going to be at the detriment of that rear tire and burning up that grip in this beginning stage of the race. He said, but that's the MO of Richie Escalante. If he's going to race that way, I have to race that way in order to get another race win. He did lose half of the first qualifying session. They lost an engine, and that's when they were really going to be going through some of their setup changes, try and get some of that extra life out of it. So they got a little bit behind, but then they turned it around in the second qualifying. He got the pole. He feels pretty good about the bike that he has for the race.
Yeah, pretty good might not be enough if this adrenaline race for Richie Escalante continues this way.
He's
so
trying.
Close. Escalante's trying.
Yeah, he is really trying. Looks like he's trying to get through the mid-corner there quite a bit quicker. And how about Benjamin Smith? He's closed that gap back down to these leaders as he's slowly pulled away just a little bit now from Corey Ventura. This is going to be a fast lap for Benjamin Smith as he rolls around at a 27.4. Same exact lap times almost as the leaders. The 88 on a mission right now to try to catch back up. These 2 guys engage at all. Benjamin might see himself leading this race shortly.
Benjamin Smith with a bit between his teeth. He has been kind of right there and a little bit further back. It's still early days in this race, Jay. We still have 15 laps to go, and there's a lot of tire wear, a lot of things to decide, but I'm so impressed with 2 things going on in this race right now. Sean Dillon Kelly leading this thing, and Richie Escalante putting all this pressure on him, as well as this guy right here, 88.
I like how defiant right now SDK is leading this race. We have seen these guys race close for the last 2 years. I mean, it was just at RoadAmerica. It's been well documented. There was 34 lead changes. This is a different type of racetrack. Much harder track to pass. When you have 2 guys locked together like this, as close as they are, it takes a big commitment to go down the inside of somebody, even there going into the chicane. Now you can see all down through here, again, Escalante kind of starts to get some runs. Even when they go through Rainy down to turn 10, you can sometimes slip down the inside of somebody here. It looks like he's trying, but he's not quite able to get that job done. SDK just lets go of that lever and gets his roll speed and rolls right through the middle of those corners really fast. And look at Benjamin Smith closes on these guys from the corkscrew down.
It's that last sector, yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah, Benjamin Smith trying to stay with these 2, doing a great job of it so far. But Jason, watching that Kawasaki come off that final corner, it seems much improved. Here he goes up the inside. Sideways goes Escalante. He will not get it done there. Sean Dillon Kelly is racing with eyes on the back of his head right now. Impressive how he's able to keep Escalante at bay.
It is so hard when you get down into that position. You come down the front straightaway behind somebody, you get a run on him, and you think, okay, I'm doing it no matter what when I get down to turn 2. But it's just impossible right now. Sean Dillon Kelly is so good on the brakes. They've got that bike set up so nicely for him that he feels so good in these particular situations. As you see him go into turn 5, he's only using about 3/4 track on his entry there, so he's being a little bit defensive, but it's not slowing him down. As you see him still, these guys are in those 27s.
Oh, and sector 2, they just set the fastest lap and personal best part of that sector. So Escalante just did an 18.1 second in sector number 2. So shows you how hard they're pushing. All the while, Benjamin Smith was only a 10th off that.
See, there's a little mistake there. Escalante puts himself just to the right side of SDK as they go into the corkscrew. He knows better than to put himself down the inside because he's just not quite able to make that pass. Now, maybe out of here, he's got a little bit of room to try to run out of this corner. Let's see what he gets. Nope, doesn't get as good of an exit that time out of turn 10.
Just keep setting personal sector splits for these riders. The best lap of the race is a 27.4 by Escalante on lap number 3, but look at the drive Sean Dillon Kelly gets out of that final corner to go 27-2 and the fastest lap of the race. You can kind of see it setting up with the splits on our screen, Jason.
Yep.
As SDK now trying to make a break, trying to tell Escalante, hey, I got it. You're behind me, but let's go. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit. Keep in mind, qualifying times in the 26s. 26.4 was pole position. Still, a 27-2 with 13 laps to go is impressive.
Yep, and Escalante this time by through that first sector has gone purple, which means that's his fastest sector. So now when you sit there and you look at it, you're lap 7 of 19, you have to think that if you're the number one of Escalante, you've got to just try to make a little bit more of a plan. And you can see him look back over his shoulder, almost like he had a problem there. That was interesting because there's a big gap. Now, the thing is this guy up front on the 40, Sean Dillon Kelly, he's not making any mistakes, and that gap has just grown. He lost half a second in that second sector. So I'm not sure if maybe we missed something there in the middle of turn 5 while we zoomed in on Sean Dillon Kelly there. I'm not sure if we missed something in the middle of that corner.
So Sean Dillon Kelly now opens it up, but Benjamin Smith, the 88, starting to get real close to Escalante and threatened for second place, Jamie.
And I was going to say, you know, the big benefactor of this is Benjamin Smith. Think about the difference in where they're at in their careers right now. Benjamin Smith's only on his second year and on this 600 bike, and he's still gaining that experience, and he wanted to follow these guys around as long as he possibly could. He's going to be happy with the start of this race. I don't think he expected to be able to hang on to the back of them now at on the lap 8 of this 19-lap race. So he's learning from them all the way around, and he noticed in practice and qualifying that he was actually better than them in the third sector of this racetrack. And all this is going to do is give him more confidence, more experience, and make him a better rider, even just for the race tomorrow.
Yeah, a little warning from the rear Dunlop coming out of turn number 2. A little bit of movement. You can see he lost a little ground, did Benjamin Smith. But yeah, the education level right now for Smith through the roof.
Yeah, but these kind of laps, when you look at it, we've seen some guys run with them, including Ben Smith, at places like WeatherTech where there is a lot of drafting and redrafting. This place doesn't have that. So the fact that he stayed this close for this long, as he's lost just a little bit of time there in those first 2 splits, but like you say, Jamie, he is quick in the third split, which is this run up to the corkscrew, and especially coming down from the corkscrew down to turn 11. I want you to look at this gap that we have right now, and you'll see Benjamin Smith will claw his way back into it just a little bit more, although this lap he's definitely lost some time here. Those first couple splits, he's lost 2 or 3 tenths of a second, specifically in sector 1.
But Richie Escalante, just in front of the 88, has just set the best split in sector 2 and personal split in sector number 3 to close the gap back down to Sean Dillon Kelly. So whatever that moment was a lap and a half ago, he seems to have sorted himself out, and that's where he's kind of getting away from Benjamin Smith. As Smith, last time across the stripe, it was 1.8, so he lost about a tenth of a second to the leaders on this one. A 27.3 personal best for Escalante, trying to chase down Sean Dillon Kelly. So he goes, Escalante, a 27.3 with 11 laps remaining in this race.
And Benjamin Smith on that lap lost a second, but he was there for those first 8.5 laps. That's going to be something he can take with him tomorrow. It's great seeing these young guys start getting on the back of the 2 seasoned guys that we've seen here the last couple of years winning everything. So Benjamin Smith's going to have learned a lot there, and you said it, Greg, on that last lap. We saw a little bit of movement from Benjamin's bike out of the rear of the motorcycle, so that was probably the tell. And this time Escalante now is trying to close this gap back up. We've seen it out to almost a second. Harm Jansen down in what looks like turn 11 here. See the marshals were out to that bike obviously very quickly. Harm's up and okay, going to try to get himself going.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you want to get him out and off the racetrack. M4X Star Suzuki's Sean Dillon Kelly, your championship points leader, leading the way from Richie Escalante, who had put on a charge last lap. You know, Jay, is there a possibility in your mind with what Richie Escalante's feeling that he can take a deep breath, go for 1 lap, take another deep breath, and try to chip away at this lead because of the pain?
It almost looks like that, but I don't think the pain is going to be. Granted, look, I know he's in some pain. The thing is, though, is that adrenaline does a funny thing for you, and a lot of these guys will mentally get themselves in a spot where it's, hey, I got to go out and run 18 laps. I got to do the best I can. I got to try to stick with the guy that's leading the championship. I mean, Escalante at this stage right now, whether he's in pain or not, he has to figure out a way to barge his way through and get these 25 points and snatch it away from Sean Dillon Kelly, because SDK is not showing any weaknesses as far as I can tell from sitting here. Lines and everything are sharp, and he's good on defensive lines. He's still able to run fast lap times, even not using up all of the racetrack going into some of these braking zones that we've seen, and he's not making any mistakes.
Sean Dylan Kelly. Looking at the Dunlop tires he's running soft combination in front and rear. A little bit different from Richie Escalante on the rear tire, using that extra soft. And that gap has really grown, Jason.
Yeah.
I just think that we saw that one warning that was coming from Benjamin Smith this early on in the race. And again, that's part of the learning process, though, for him to be able to manage that, for his team to say, wow, look at the pace you're going for this many laps. What are the changes we're going to have to make for tomorrow to make this tire last even longer? And Corey Ventura's in fourth, doing a great job, local rider, over Kevin Olmedo. Rocco Landers in sixth. Sam Lockoff in seventh. Dominic Doyle.
Another big mistake. See, those are the mistakes when you're pushing as hard as you can and you make those little errors like that. If SDK just keeps his head down, these are the kind of things that can break. Now, Escalante, we know, is going to continue to fight. He still has 9 laps to go. That time when they came across, that one little mistake opened that gap up to just a little over half a second. So when you start to think about it, Escalante, he just has to be perfect. But when you're perfect and you still get on the back of a guy and you can't figure out a way through, it can get frustrating. So looking back on that little one down there into turn 11, you know, a lot of these guys, even on the 600s, will backshift into first gear. So we'll have to look and see if that's something that Escalante's doing, and maybe just lost the rear on the way in.
It's just got to wear on him too, Jason, having to use all that energy to save it. And, you know, it's just one of those situations for Escalante. I mean, he doesn't want to make excuses for himself, and I'm not trying to. But the reality is, I saw the X-ray that Richie Escalante has, and I saw the crack that's in his foot. And it is right in a position where when he rides on the balls of his feet, Jason, and transitions and works the shifter, that's what's causing a lot of pain.
Yeah,
and
there's no
we
question.
all know that a lot of control to the, you know, a lot of control that you have for the motorcycle comes on the balls of your feet.
Yeah, but look what he's doing here. He's gained a 10th back in Sector 2. He's gained 2 tenths back in Sector 3. So we know he has the pace. Getting there is one thing. Passing him is another thing. And you can see that he's kind of clawed back. This is the mistake that he made coming into 11 last time. You're going to see this bike snap back underneath him there. And that could simply be catching a false neutral and the bike jumping back into first gear here. As you can see, bike gets completely out of shape, and that's not going to help his wrist at all, obviously.
Yeah,
but he's able to run 27. That's the difference between these guys. They are still running in the mid-27s. 27.8 that time, actually, for SDK. 27.6 for Escalante. The couple guys behind them, Benjamin Smith and Corey Ventura, both in the 28s. However, just a little something to think about. Corey Ventura, the last 2 laps, has been quicker than Benjamin Smith, and that's down to 1.6 in our battle for third. A little further back, Kevin Olmedo and Rocco Landers are locked into battle here as well. Now, these guys are in the 29s, Greg, is Olmedo and Rocco Landers.
So Kevin Olmedo, a rising star in our series, has just suffered with injury throughout the course of the season. And Rocco Landers, a great job, the 97. Hannah, what do you know about Rocco?
Rocco this weekend is fighting off some asthma-induced bronchitis. He's getting over that, but overall the bike feels good. They were looking to make some changes to get better grip, specifically for better drive, but he's a lot closer than he expected to be at this track. It's not the strongest track for his bike, in his opinion. His overall goal, in his own words, was to send it, but he's not quite where he wants to be. They found some things, and they have a really good base setup, so they're hoping to just continue to make some progress on that.
Yeah, they're sending it for a race result, and then they're sending it into the gravel trap. So Rocco's doing the first bit better.
Yeah, he just wants to continue to be strong and get a result, and you can see Escalante has closed that gap as we come down this front straightaway. Let's see what kind of times we're in here. Still in the 27s, 27.6 for Escalante as we got 7 laps to go. You can start to see some of the tail enders that we have now as Blackall gets out of the way down into turn 2. But I saw some blue flags there on the front straightaway, and we're going to continue to see that now, Greg. Probably for the rest of this race, there'll probably be small packs of guys that they might end up catching up to. See another couple guys going up there through turn 4.
About 6.5 laps to go in this one with Sean Dylan Kelly, M4X Star Suzuki, leading over Richie Escalante. I don't even need to tell you the gap. You can clearly see it's a couple tenths of a second. Benjamin Smith still holding on to third spot with Corey Ventura less than a second behind him now, with Olmedo and Landers locked in that battle. Sam Lockoff in 7th spot, 26 seconds behind, just ahead of Dominic Doyle. Thermiotis and Soltis, your top 10.
Yep, unusual to see Sam a little bit further back this weekend. So, you know, we've seen him up front at most of the races, like really surprising. But sometimes you come to a track and things don't gel quite as nicely as you'd like them to. I know he was excited about it just by looking at some of his Instagram posts and things, and to see him back a little bit further. What do you have for us on Sam, Jamie?
They had a little bit of a personnel change this weekend. It'll be all sorted out by the time we go to the next race at Brainerd. But Sam was a little frustrated with his performance overall. He said every session he felt like they were just going backwards. It wasn't working out the way he wanted to. They did make some big changes for the race today. He lined up 8th. He's up to 7th right now. And he said he just can't let the points get away from him. He's pretty jazzed up about being 3rd in the standings. He is 77 points behind Sean Dillon Kelly, but this is his first season on the 600, so he was excited about being in that top 3. He just doesn't want to let it slip away. Fortunately for him, Stefano Mesa is right behind him in 4th, and he's not going to earn any points today, so it's going to be a pretty solid cushion. He's just trying to hold on to these points.
Wow, what an aggressive move from the 25, Dominic Doyle, to get around lock off the 44. And 78 Thermiotis right there, Jason.
Yeah, those guys know each other well from our Junior Cup days. Lockoff's going to take an immediate shot down into turn 2, but he's not going to quite make it. As you can see, Doyle there lets off the brake lever, gets into turn 2. Really impressed with Alex Thermiotis right now, tailing on the back of these guys in what has to be the number 78's best ride we've seen, solidly in the top 10. And he's racing with a couple of guys that have ran up front, so that's going to do a lot for that young man's confidence as well. As we get back up to the front, look how close Escalante is as they get into the corkscrew. So you got to think now, Escalante's kind of sat on his heels, Greg, for the last 10 or so laps. We've seen this gap go back and forth. Now he's closed this gap down. He is trying to figure out where he's going to make this decision.
This is the move right there. So Escalante going side by side with Sean Dillon Kelly, trying to get to that shift lever, is the number 1. Down in, and SDK retakes the lead. So that was momentary, Jay. But wow, we've got a race on our hands all of a sudden.
This is what I love about these two guys, though. SDK had the wherewithal to know that Escalante was coming up underneath him, gave him a little bit of room, and you saw Escalante's left foot come off the foot peg there, and now they're getting into turn 2. Now it's going to start to get racy. We're in the low 28s now, but Escalante has taken his first shot at the 40.
And SDK said, as we've heard, that it's not a perfect motorcycle for him, and there are 5 laps to go. And with all the pressure that Escalante's put on him, we're going to see if Sean Dillon Kelly has abused that rear tire trying to hold on to this lead, and Escalante going to be able to take advantage of it. So many mistakes, just small miscues for the number 1 during this race. Boy, this one is just tense right now. You can feel it.
When you start looking at places like coming down the corkscrew into Rainy or from Rainy corner into turn 10, you're trying to get, this is the exit of turn 10 just now, and you can see his foot comes off the peg. You're starting to look at other places on the track because you can't get by this guy in traditional spots. As we come up here into the corkscrew, you can see SDK is too strong. Turn 11, SDK is too strong. Turn 5, same thing, and 2. So you have to start to get creative in places like this. Escalante now has taken a little bit of a reprieve. He's going to follow him down through turn 10, try to get a run on him through the middle of this corner, maybe try something in 11, but you see, Greg, he's not strong enough out of here to get all the way up alongside of that Suzuki. So SDK is really doing a nice job in the places he has to be good in to defend his position.
M4X Star Suzuki versus a Honos HVMC Kawasaki. It's a battle of the manufacturers, and Jason, we heard that Dominic Doyle in the pits after a great battle. So unfortunately for the 25, he's out of this race. We saw that a moment ago, but all of our focus is on front with 4 laps to go. Sean Dillon Kelly trying to stay in front. Escalante, it's just an accordion effect. He closes up on him. All right, Jay, you're deep into this race now.
Yeah.
If Escalante can hold on to this pace, where would you try to fight SDK? Because there's so many places here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca that he can fight back.
Well, I really do believe that the place he's got to do it is where you saw him try it earlier, because for me, it's going to take a big it's going to take a very, very late braking pass in any one of the other 4 places I said. Turn 2, 5, corkscrew, 11. And when you start to look at where he's got to get creative, it's got to be either the run from the corkscrew down into Rainy, but SDK is really good, and he's pretty tight on the way down into Rainy corner itself. As you see, they're heading down there now. Now, the only other thing Escalante can do is run it through the middle of this corner and gain some momentum, and then try to put himself on the right side of SDK again like he did a couple laps ago. Not close enough this lap, but see, all these other little areas are very difficult to do it. You know he's going to take a shot. It's just a matter of where.
Yeah, and I just think with the injuries that Escalante is working with right now, that it's just going to be one of those deep breath moments. Maybe save it to the last lap. But they're coming up on some more lap traffic. Those blue flags do wave, so that traffic is aware that their leaders are coming. So hopefully they just get out of the way and let this race continue up front. Yeah, good job by lap traffic to get out of the way. And Sean Dillon Kelly now with a couple extra bike lengths over Richie Escalante. So Sean Dylan Kelly leading this way under tremendous pressure, Hannah.
And Greg, Jamie at the start of this race mentioned the momentum that Sean Dylan Kelly carried over from those 2 victories here at Laguna Seca last year. So I thought we should take a look at his overall career in the MotoAmerica paddock. He joined us in 2019. He saw 7 podiums and 2 victories in his very first year. Last season, 16 podiums, 5 victories. So far this year, we've already seen 7 podiums and 5 victories. He's matched his victories from last season. So that growth that he's made in just 3 seasons, and he's matured as a rider, has really worked to his abilities, you know, in order to fight for this championship this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and I just think that under the pressure he's on right now, that Richie Escalante continues to put on him during the entire race, and it's been on and off. How great we have seen Sean Dylan Kelly race this race, Jace.
No, and you know what? When you look at what he has done by controlling the pace, it is so hard to do what he's doing. When you come across that start-finish line every lap and you look at your pit board and you see +0, +0, +0, and you know that the guy's already taking shots at you, you're always wondering where it's going to come from. So what you really have to do is hit your marks. You have to stay out ahead of yourself and think about all the marks that you got to hit along the way. Let's just keep making it hard on this guy. And, you know, the physical condition is not in any question from either one of these 2 guys. So they're going to be able to push to the limit all the way to the end. As you can see, SDK gets himself back into the 27s with 2 laps to go. He rolls a 27.9 at the number 1 of Escalante. So the thing is he's not slowing down. He's got all of the cards. He's got a good bike. It's the first time I've seen him look back in a long time, honestly. But right now, he's just got to keep hitting those marks and do what he's doing. Now, the one thing I'll say is Escalante is really good through the middle of 6, and we've seen him get extremely close to Kelly as they roll up to the corkscrew. If Escalante puts himself to the inside, that could be where a big surprise move could happen. It's at the top of this hill. Not close enough this time, but we've seen him extremely close to him going in here a few laps during this race.
Lap and a half remain in race number 1. Supersport, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca here, the 2021 championship. And
he's broken him, Greg, I think, a little bit. I think in these last couple laps, STK has been able to put his head back down and get himself into a spot. That's half a second almost now. So, you know, he's not going to see that on his board. He's going to see, whereas we look at Escalante's board right now, he's got 6 seconds over Corey Ventura now, who has taken 3rd over Benjamin Smith. STK has another look over his shoulder. This is where he is literally got to hit the marks. Escalante is going to run it extremely deep down here in turn 2 to try to get as close as he can to maybe line himself up for turn 5. But you can see, Greg, another mistake
from Escalante. Yep. That bike moved around quite a bit. This is go time for Richie Escalante. If he's been saving some energy for the last couple laps, he's got to do it. Sean Dylan Kelly knows it's coming. Drop the pace to 27.8, only 0.6 of a second off the best lap that he did all the way back on lap number 6. Boy, these Dunlops are holding up really well. So it's Sean Dylan Kelly leading the way from Richie Escalante, Ventura in 3rd, Benjamin Smith in 4th, Olmedo and Landers.
And he's going to have a look over his shoulder there just to see how close Escalante was, whether it was meant that he'd have to block that inside or not. But here's where I think that if Escalante gets a good run through here, he might try something up into the corkscrew. Let's see if he positions himself on the left side rather than the right side as they come in here.
Might be 1 bike length too long for Escalante to do anything, so he's not going to do it there. Now it's important this run down to the corkscrew, through Rainy Corner, into turn number 10. Is Escalante going to try to get right back up on him in 10, where we've seen him be strong? Ooh, a good bit of margin, couple bike lengths. So this is it. It's going to be one more time, one more shot. It's going to be into the final corner. Is Escalante going to make a lunge or hold on to second? What a move by Sean Dylan Kelly.
I love seeing that. He's going to get that bike back shifted probably to first, get the acceleration out of here and try to run this to the line.
To the line we go. Sean Dylan Kelly would look over his shoulder. It's a drag race, and it'll be Sean Dylan Kelly with a victory of less than 1/10 of a second over Richie Escalante. A masterful performance. And how about the 28 of Corey Ventura on the CV28 Racing Yamaha? He comes across the line, and it's going to be Corey Ventura on that, Kawasaki ZX6R. That'll take 3rd place. Welcome back to the podium, Corey Ventura. Benjamin Smith to 4th place. Kevin Olmedo and Rocco Landers come across the line for 6th. What a performance.
Too good.
And an effort by Richie Escalante. A
really
27.8 to a 28 flat. Escalante on Sean Dylan Kelly on that last lap. But it was somewhere during the race where the victory will be 0.099, 99 thousandths of a second. Great racing as we grow to expect here from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. A look at Sean Dillon Kelly's lap progression. You can see the fastest lap of that race, 27.2. And as you look down, the consistency, absolutely incredible for Sean Dillon Kelly.
Yeah, the only reason he went 28 flat on the last lap and wasn't in the 7th is because he was playing a little defensive. I loved what he did as he came out of turn 10. He gave Escalante no opportunity to even think about going down the inside of him. And I know the Suzuki, they get this thing and they run first gear out of that last corner. So he got it in there nice and tight, controlled that mid-corner speed, and was able to dart off there. And there you go. Those two guys, they always race each other clean. That's what I love about it. There was nothing there that made me think that Escalante was going to do anything crazy to go by him here.
What a great race. We can't wait to hear from Sean Dillon Kelly on how he handled the pressure, because we know he did it with a win. Don't go anywhere.
In our commercial break, Robbie Floyd and Roger Hayden here with you as we watch Sean Dillon Kelly move up down towards the track in the victory podium. Another win by him. What's that, 6 now? Just keeps clicking them off. That was a kind of an accordion event. At times it looked like Escalante might have something for him, and then Sean would find his speed again. But he was staying in those 27s. Pretty incredible run.
Yeah, it looks like the middle of the race, you know, Sean Dillon Kelly kind of started doing some 28s, and Escalante caught right up to him. And then those last couple laps, you know, Sean Dillon Kelly put his head down, got back in the 27s, and you know, it was a good race. I thought, you know, the last battle was definitely going to come down to the last lap. But what a great ride by Sean Dillon Kelly. It's really hard to lead these races flag to flag and not making any mistakes.
Looks like he's going to park that M4X Star Suzuki, do a little tribute to the 69 of Nicky Hayden. That's pretty cool. You got out your camera taking a picture of that. And again, Nicky here with us, and Sean paying a little tribute to him as well. Nick, you can appreciate that ride. I mean, that was a flag-to-flag victory. He didn't give up a spot. It looked like he might, you know, Escalante pulled to the side of him one time. And aren't you surprised? I'm not saying run him into the dirt, but I would have used a lot more track. I would use a lot more track than Richie Escalante did.
Yeah, when he made that pass in the 10, you know, he still left a couple feet of room on the outside instead of maybe running it all the way to the curve, because he was in front of him, so he held the line, and then maybe he could have held on to the lead. But, you know, the thing of the race was Sean Dillon Kelly didn't make not one mistake.
Sean pulling in now, and again, that is his 5th victory, or he had 5 victories on the season coming into here. That will be his 6th, his 8th podium now as well. But just unbelievable. Richie Escalante and Mesa, the only 2 riders able to take victories this year, other than Sean Dillon Kelly. And Richie Escalante is going to lament, but, you know, give up? No, that's not in his man's lexicon. He's going to get ready and try and go out there and beat him tomorrow. He lost 5 points today. He can't continue to lose points to SDK.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a little bit stronger tomorrow. Now, I mean, even SDK, now his points lead is 26. That's over a race, so it kind of gives you a little bit of a cushion.
As we hear the Nat sound from the crowd over near Parc Fermé as they make their way towards the victory podium, and things are just trending in the right direction. Want to point out, what a run by Corey Ventura, making a podium. First time to see him this year, and the first time he gets on the podium.
Yeah, great ride by him, just jumping in, you know, not doing the whole MotoAmerica series and coming in and getting a podium. So that's a great effort from him, and it's really cool to see, because he's a really good kid. Won't meet a nicer kid than him, so it's cool to see him come here and get on the podium.
Ben Smith losing it a little bit towards the end. They're going to finish 4th. Kevin Olmedo, the top 5. Rocco Landers was all over. Olmedo wasn't able to get by him. Sam Lockoff, 3rd in championship points, and he's going to extend his advantage over Stefano Mesa, because Mesa could not make the start. But another good run from Alex Thermiotis, pointing out that silver bike up there. He was charging hard. I like Thermiotis now. I don't know what he found, but recently he's been getting on the gas. But again, Sean Dillon Kelly takes the win, his 6th on the season. We'll send it over next door to Greg White and Jason Pridmore and the crew, and they'll hear from our winner.
Today's Supersport coverage has been sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Scenes from post-race as Sean Dillon Kelly heads up to the hill in honor of Nicky Hayden. That's a cool move, Jay.
Yeah, very cool. Obviously, Nicky holds a special place in all of our hearts, and great to see these guys pay homage to him.
Up to the famous corkscrew here are the results. Is Sean Dylan Kelly, 99 thousandths of a second over Richie Escalante, and Corey Ventura, who gets himself on the podium again. He did it last year in race number 1 when we came to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Benjamin Smith, a great learning experience for him. I'm sure that they'll get back to it. Almeida and Lander. So let's get right down to Hannah, who has our winner, Sean Dylan Kelly.
Greg, this marks Sean Dylan Kelly's 6th victory of this season. With 2 laps to go, he started to pull away from Richie Escalante. Sean, how were you able to put your head down and really focus, knowing that Richie was looking for any opportunity to get by you?
Yeah, man, it feels so good to win again at Laguna Seca. All these fans are absolutely amazing. It's so nice to go around the track. There's a ton of people. I mean, this is amazing. So thank you guys for coming out. It was definitely a hard race. I mean, every session we've been back and forth between us. The lap times have been really close, and I know it's going to be a tough race, but I need to work on some things for tomorrow that I know I can improve on. But happy overall that, you know, we got the race victory. It was definitely close, but this is what we're here for. We're here to win and show that, you know, we can fight it out. So just going to keep on working. Huge thank you to my whole M4XR Suzuki team for getting my bike ready to go. Thank you to Mike for always keeping me ready, feeling better than ever. My family for watching, everyone for back at home for watching, and Fresh and Lean for supporting me, keeping me strong, and Arai, everyone that supports me, and just a huge thank you. Love you guys.
What does it mean to you to be able to pay tribute to Nicky Hayden on your cool-down lap?
Yeah, I mean, everyone misses Nicky, and when I saw that 69 up there, I mean, already from last year, I was like, that's going to be something special for me at some race. So it was nice to go up there and definitely think of Nicky again, even though we think about him all the time. But I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for the whole entire Hayden family. I'm very thankful for so many reasons. I think they know some things. So just really very thankful and looking forward to giving him another good race tomorrow.
Well, congrats on victory number 6 to Sean Dylan Kelly. Let's get over to Jamie with 2nd place.
And that 2nd place finisher is the defending champion, Richie Escalante. And sure, it's a good solid points day, these 2nd place points, but we saw how badly you wanted to make that pass for the win. You were behind SDK the whole time. Where were you lacking today?
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy for staying the podium again. I crashed Tuesday when testing with my team, a bit high side, so I have a little bit fractured my foot. But today I feel great. To be honest, I'm not happy right now. The victory is so close in front of me, so yeah, for sure I need to homework with my team to try to improve a little bit. I need something, you know, for try to make the difference. So yeah, I'm happy. So thanks to Honors Racing, Hudson Valley, Race MotoSport, to all the support, my family. I'm very happy to finally the fans is coming, so it's nice to see the people on the corners. But for sure, I need to improve something. Too much work tomorrow morning to try to win. I never win here, so I'm really like to win and start to more close on the point. So yeah, is keep working, and thanks to all my sponsors, special Fresh and Lean, to help me to stay strong, and my suit, Birkos, HGC helmet, all the sponsors of my team, my family, especially my girlfriend, my brother-in-law is here so to support me. I'm very happy and looking forward for tomorrow.
Spoken like a champion. There's always work to do, Hannah.
3rd place today goes to a familiar face, Corey Ventura. The 2nd third of his Supersport career right here in his backyard. A home race for you, Corey. What does it mean to be able to podium with all of your family here?
Oh man, it feels amazing. I don't even know what you said from all the cheering, but yeah, it feels great. I've been working really, really hard to get this thing back here at MotoAmerica, and I want to prove myself, and I want to stay here. I want to keep coming back, and this is such a special thing. This is a family-run program, and my whole team has been digging deep. Jesse Kaler has had this thing awesome, and this is all NorCal. I had so much help that all contributed to come help me race here, and O2 Creation, Grant Bolt, everyone just put in the dimes to make this happen.
Tell me a little bit about your battle with Benjamin Smith and how you were able to hold him off and secure this podium today.
Oh man, it was gnarly. He gapped me. I don't know by how much. I think I lost sight of him, and I just kept digging deep, kept trying, and at the end of the race I had the pace and worked my way around him and made it happen.
Congratulations, 3rd place, Corey Ventura. Greg?
All right, so Corey Ventura, one of our only 4 riders, Jay, you mentioned it, able to get into the 27s early on, and it's all about digging deep. But this guy's waiting for those podium celebrations, and he loves throwing the front wheel in the air. More coming at you after this.
Well, Sean Dillon Kelly was showing us a little wheelie central coming down that straightaway, and again giving homage to your brother Nicky. That was pretty cool when he went up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really cool. I know Sean Dillon Kelly really looks up to Nicky and kind of wants to follow his footsteps and go over to the world level and have a lot of success. And you know, whenever Sean did his wild card Moto 2 ride, he really wanted to use Nicky's number and use the same style. And you know, he called me and asked the family if it'd be okay. It would have been a great honor for him. And so, of course, we let him. And actually, Sean, I collect helmets and memorabilia. And actually, Sean gave me his helmet from that Moto 2 debut. So
that's awesome.
Great kid, and you know, it's cool to see.
What do you think about what he's doing this year? I don't know that I expected to see this kind of streak. I mean, this is 3 in a row, but 6 of 9 now. I think, did you really expect to see this? Because we're still seeing the back and forth, but more times than not, it's SDK on leading Escalante.
I mean, if you look back to last year, yes, it's a little bit of a surprise, but I always go back to Sean's first year in Supersport.
Yes.
When we had no idea really what to expect. You know, he was a young kid, M4, as they always do, find talent, and you know, battled almost at the front at every single race his first year.
Yeah, with Bobby Fong, with Hayden Gillum.
Won Supersport races, and the next year you kind of expected what happened this year, and you know, whatever he did, he works hard, and you know, he really went to work this off season. Really thought about his weaknesses and where he needed to improve. So I'm not totally surprised.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you don't have to look too far back. 2 years ago, it was a tremendous learning year, and he won, 2 times I think it was then. But, yeah, he was racing against his teammate, Bobby Fong. You had P.J. Jacobson there. You had Brandon Passion there. Hayden Gillum. I mean, Richie Escalante, for that matter. But, yeah, I think you're right. That was a tremendous learning year. He was building on last year. Had, you know, one big buck, you know, when we were at WeatherTech. But, I mean, you're right. I think 2 years ago was kind of I'm here.
Yeah, and that's what I always go back to that, because, you know me, I'm always looking at lap time. So even last year I was going back to the year before. So if you go back to that year like I do, then definitely not that surprised. But hey, Richie Escalante's right there. I mean, he's been within a second almost every single race. I mean, even today he was within a 10th. So he's right there. But Sean is a lot mentally stronger this year, I think, than maybe last year. In this and racing is so much mental, and he just looks like nothing frustrates him this year. If, you know, Richie Escalante makes a pass, he stays calm and then, you know, strikes back, and he's leading these races from the front, and that's really difficult.
You notice he didn't want to let Richie lead even one turn, did he? He was trying to push so hard. I'm still surprised that Richie didn't kind of run him a little wider and maybe even make him back off for a second. But fans got to see a good one. But he did not want to even give him one turn in the lead, did he?
Yeah, you never want to give up the lead, because you don't know if you're going to be able to get it back. I mean, it's not the easiest place to pass, so you definitely, you know, we see that between those two. They never give up the lead to the other one easily.
That's Roger Hayden. I'm Robbie Floyd. We're going to send it back next door to Greg White and Jason Pridmore with more coverage on the Supersport class.
Dillon Kelly enjoying another victory on the season. 6 for SDK so far. What a championship he is putting together right now. Let's take a look at race number 1 and what happened in Supersport.
Great start from number 40 there. It gets off to the early lead. See him moving over to the left, not letting anybody come up underneath him. Benjamin Smith showed early form as he shoved his way up underneath Escalante, only to have that favor return to him as they went down into turn 5. Escalante was able to get on the back of Sean Dillon Kelly early in this race, but really couldn't do anything once he was there. We saw a few mistakes like this one down into turn 11. The one shot he had, Greg, he went up underneath him into turn 10, wasn't quite able to complete that pass, and from that point on, SDK put his head down and was able to hold off those advances. A little further back here, you see Benjamin Smith and Corey Ventura got wrapped up into this battle for third, and it was the hometown hero of Corey Ventura ending up putting that bike on the podium. But it's all right now about this guy. He's opened up a nice little points gap, as we're going to have a look at it here, Greg.
The 19-year-old Sean Dillon Kelly. I'm going to say that again, 19, Jason. I mean, it seems like he's been around.
It does, but he's got a 26-point lead now. Lockoff moves himself up there into third, as you can see, in Landers.
Yeah, so Mesa was in fourth,
yes.
Sam Lockoff. So Landers now moves ahead of Mesa, who he and his team are working to try to get that motorcycle set up and ready for tomorrow's race. And on back through the field.
You see Alex Thurmiotis there in 10th. That's the best result we've seen him all year long. Probably career 7th best, finishing 7th. Noel Lampkin with his problems today. So, when you look at it right now, though, as I started to watch this race, I can definitely see that right now, this points gap, 26, he has a race to throw away, Greg. And a lot of times, you hear these guys say they don't talk about points, they don't talk about this. But when you know that you've got a full race lead on the guy that's chasing you, it definitely gives you a little bit more confidence. You want to be that guy now that continue to keep doing the pace and doing what the work that STK is doing has been really good.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, Jason, is as you really look at the season here, is we have 9 races currently on the calendar. So we have double headers, so 18 races for Supersport. This race marks the halfway point of the championship. And if this continues on going the way it is right now,
there's plenty of time for Escalante. I don't want to say that I'm giving anybody a championship, but when you get a 26-point lead like STK has done now, and shown that you're able to do it without making any big mistakes, that's a big coup to him. That's doing a great job.
So both riders are going to have an opportunity to go back with great data and really work on making the bike even better tomorrow. It could be pretty crazy. The temperatures are going to be about the same, and we could see lap times even faster and total race time even quicker than that. And so with Richie Escalante, says he's doing okay, we expect a great race tomorrow from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. We hope that you enjoyed the coverage today. We're going to be back to do it again tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel. So we'll see you there. For Hannah Lopa, Jamie Howe, and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you for race number 2 at 4 p.m. East.
Come on.